again, on any given day, at any given time, I've seen who you would say is the best poker player in the world. I've seen them be the worst poker player in the world. And I've seen people who they wouldn't say are the best poker players in the world have their moments. Does it go based on, how great somebody played for 1 week or 1 year? Or I would say that, you have to consider if it's about experience, Doyle Brunson, because he's been playing the longest. If it's about who's done maybe some of the most amazing moves, guys like Phil Ivey, that you've seen, who's won the most bracelets, Phil Hellmuth. If you play poker every single day for 30 years and you're not one of the best poker players in the world, you need to choose something else to do with your life. So I know that I'm not one of the best poker players in the world. I know that I think that I played the best poker I could ever play when I won in 2006. I was the best that I could ever be at that moment. But to me, there's no such thing as the best poker player in the world. It's any given day at any given time. It's amazing how there are some people who are at their best and some people at their worst. And the only one who will give you an answer about that is Phil Hellmuth, who will tell you that he's the best poker player in the world. And it's not true. There are some moments where he is, but I've seen moments where he's terrible. But it's but as far as accomplishments, he's put in maybe the most amount of time in tournaments. You can't take that away from him. You know what I mean? He's really, really, really good in tournaments, as well as Danny Negreanu and Phil Ivey and all of these guys. But I believe I can play with them. If I'm at my best, I don't know anybody who's much better than me. But I don't remember being at my best very often. You mean lager?
Lager.
Oh, I'm allergic to beer. So no, really, I love it. But I'm allergic to wheat and gluten now. It happens to a lot of people, I guess. So a beer gives me a massive headache now. But you mean poker or alcohol?
It's what comes with alcohol, isn't it?
It's maybe the question for me is, what have I spent more time doing in my life? It's getting closer. If you asked me 5 years ago, alcohol by far. But now, because I play poker so much without drinking while I'm playing, and I put in a lot of hours playing poker, I try not to drink when I'm playing. I'm the worst player in the world when I drink. And when I don't drink, I'm pretty good. But I'd say that I'd rather answer poker during the day and alcohol at night. Poker during the day and sex at night, yes. But also, here's the thing. Before Viagra, you'd have to say that sex only lasts so long. Poker lasts forever. But it is very close. Like winning the World Series of Poker, it's very hard to think about any sex that I've ever had that's compared to that. It's very tough. But maybe collectively, all the sex that I've had in my life is probably better than winning. Would I have traded all the sex in my life for winning the World Series of Poker? No, I'd take the sex.
That's very good answer. That's one of the best.
But any one shag, I'd take the World Series. Yeah. Neither. But if I had to pick one, I would imagine Brad Pitt. I mean, is it even does anyone say Marty Smith? I like him. He's a nice guy, but if I had to pick a wife, well, I mean, it is odd. I have some very, good friends that who've won Oscars and who have achieved, like Jerry Buss, who owns the Lakers. who swear to me, and I always thought it was a joke when we first met. They said I absolutely would trade my life for your life. They said if I could win the World Series of Poker, and I always thought they were kidding. But now, after years and years of knowing them, I feel they're actually telling me the truth. That they would rather, because they feel like that's an accomplishment that they could never. You can't get, like, a lot of people can win an Oscar. A lot of people can buy the Lakers. Nobody can win the World Series of Poker. Meaning, so it's very few people, especially the big one. Is what they were saying that they wouldn't trade it necessarily for a bracelet, but they would trade it for the big one, for the main event in their life. And I thought they were kidding, but they weren't kidding. And so I understand now, you're right, that there are people who would actually say Marty Smith. I also do understand that you may not want being famous, like Brad Pitt famous, is not the kind of life that you would want. You think you would, but you can't go anywhere for 5 seconds without. I actually, in reality, yeah, I'd rather be Marty Smith. Really, because I'd rather have a shot. I still have 90% of the time, yeah, I get some attention. People look at me. People know who I am. But I still have 10% of the time where I can be alone, or I can meet someone and they don't know who I am. It's a beautiful, natural human interaction that Brad Pitt will never have in his life. And it's a horrible thing that people are going through your garbage. He can't be crazy and party and do. There are certain things that I might want to do in my life that, you don't necessarily want to be having on television, So, I appreciate the question because it is true. And in reality, I would pick, because I've also had some of what Brad Pitt has had. You know what I mean? The money and the fame and women and whatever it is, whatever you think comes along with it. Yeah. I've had a little bit of Brad Pitt's life. And I used to represent people like Brad Pitt, and so I've gone along with them so I've lived that life. So for me, it's an easy choice. I'd have to pick Marty Smith. But you know what? Brad Pitt's so fucking good looking that no offense to Marty, but that's a great question. So no answer. I don't know who either one are. Sure, in Ireland.